there's not really a good way to. Hope I didn't ruin the audio with that in that last episode. There's not a good way to like start this. This is effectively series 3 of Sorta Like a Podcast, because this is indeed sorta like a podcast. I don't really know how podcasts work. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they started out as an audio only thing, right? Like it was like a radio show.
Yeah.
And now they are.
You would basically download the audio file and
just listen to it. Yeah, like a very long song that doesn't rhyme. And they've evolved now into what is effectively a talk show. It's very interesting that they both have like names. Like, it's a podcast. It's like, yeah, but the thing that you're doing already exists. Anyway, I don't know how to really start this. Normally, Sorta Like a Podcast is just me and Mr. Newman.
I'll just start it.
I already have. A minute ago, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, normally, Sorta Like a Podcast is me and Mr. Newman. And whenever I work with Mark on something that's podcast related, we do what we call Power Wash Cast, which is where we play Power Wash Simulator and do this. The problem is today, the conversation at hand is kind of important. Well, not important, but it's something I want to be able to focus on. And playing a video game is it's gonna detract from that. Like, I don't know how else to word that. And like I have TV on in the background, so that might make things a bit more complicated. I hate this episode of Bob's Burgers. There are some kids that you need to beat the fuck out of immediately.
Oh my God.
Like, there's like this episode of Bob's Burgers is the one where Louise gets in trouble with her grabber, and I don't know who this kid is. Oh, Bob makes a friend. This is not related to the episode of the podcast. Bob makes a friend, and that friend brings his son, and his son is a kleptomaniac and a fucking asshole, and he has a fucking underbite. And he steals something out of Mr. Franz's bag, and then like he runs outside and disposes of it in the fucking the sewer grate. And I'm just like, fuck this kid up. Like, break his legs. Like, break both of his legs. Like, I realize he's a child. He's also animated, so, you know. But whatever. And I know that there are kids like that for real. There are real life children who are just like, just awful. Just awful cretins that shouldn't be allowed to exist.
Just shouldn't be allowed, period.
But that's enough of that. So, Mark, last time when we recorded last week, I think it was, I told you that like you knew that I had about a month's worth of videos for both Princess Peach and Sparks of Hope, like backlogged, right?
Yeah, that's where we were. We were like way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I was super ahead of schedule. Mostly because I was recording on my own, like just to toot my own horn there. And you have no idea how come, like, and obviously the answer is I stopped recording. And you would assume that I stopped recording because, like, well, you're so far ahead, you can just take a break. And honestly, because of how shitty my internet is, that's not a bad idea. Like, there are nights where I hate the fact that I have to record because you know what? I'm not going to explain what I need my internet for, but there are things I'd like to use my internet for before I go to bed. But you don't know exactly what caused me to stop recording. Yeah?
I have a good idea.
Do you? All right, tell the audience at home what happened.
You almost died again.
Yeah. Did you watch the episode?
No.
Okay.
No, I did not.
Yeah, it was as far as I know. Okay, well, I guess the question is, what do you know, and how? Like, what do you know? Is the answer nothing?
As far as I remember, like from what you told me in the texts,
oh, I told you in the
you
text?
were basically. You somewhat told me in text. You were basically like drowning, I think.
Okay, so I didn't
go back and look.
Don't worry about it. As I'm about to like tell the story, because I'm not telling you, but I am telling the story.
No.
I will try to keep it. I have about 2 hours before I got to go make my breakfast for tomorrow. But I will say today was very fucking productive. I put my clothes away. And did a bunch of editing at the same time. I have my clothes picked out for tomorrow. Like, I'm good to go. Like, and I got up not kind of early, but yeah, either way. So about a month ago, that's a lie. It's been about 5 weeks.
So a month ago and in a week.
Yeah, so about 5 weeks ago, um, your Burl and Jordan came to help me go down to my dad's house, and we were going to be looking for like insurance papers and anything important that I needed to get out of the house and like bring to my house. That's a whole another story. That's a story for another day, because that one is a bitch and a half on its own. That story ends up with me losing family, and they're still alive.
There are more than one way to lose a person.
Yeah. That entire weekend, because I had not been out of the house, like other than to go to dialysis. And if y'all didn't know, I am suffering from renal failure. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. The doctors who diagnosed me did not give me an explanation as to what they think caused my renal failure. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds weird, you're not the first person to tell me that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no way that they don't know. This is what I've been told by other medical professionals. They know what happened. They just haven't told me. So it was the first time I like was doing things like being active. But in that weekend, the Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, I realized like exactly how not okay I was. I was not okay. I really couldn't move too well. Sunday night was real bad. The Sunday night, like, I was struggling to breathe. I didn't know exactly why, but like I could not walk very far at all. It's possible I might have like congestive heart failure, but I saw a cardiologist recently, and they did not diagnose me with congestive heart failure. And I only say that because that's what Violent J has. Violent J has congestive heart failure, and his he had the same complaint. Like, he said he would just try to walk to his mailbox, and he would be completely winded and like breaking out in the cold like a sweat. And like, he got diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Now, congestive heart failure is not something that is like a death sentence. It is just annoying, to say the very least. Like, there are things you can do to make it not so bad, but effectively it's just not a good time. But yeah, that weekend, it was the weekend of April 20th of 420. And yeah, it sucked. Like, I realized how not okay I was. That Wednesday, Monday, everything was kind of okay. Tuesday, everything was relatively okay. And that Wednesday, I am at dialysis. It's early in the morning. Around 10 o'clock. And my tech, Kathy, there was an issue. The tech went and grabbed one of the nurses, Brandy, and they came over, and I had headphones on. I was listening to music, and I was just hanging out. I was like, but they were standing really close to me. They were standing nearby, and like they kept glancing over at me, and like talking to each other, and they had concerned look on their faces. And I was like, this probably concerns me.
Which is never what you want when you're being talked about.
Yeah, and so I was like, I should probably try to like get an idea of what's going on. So I pause my music and I go like, what's up? And they're like, your catheter fell out. And I look down at my chest, and my dialysis catheter is hanging out about 6 to 8 inches. Maybe closer to like 4 to 5, but I'm bad at judging distances. And I go, oh, that's out further than it's supposed to be. Randy goes, yeah. And so the protocol was to send me to a hospital to get it put back in. Mostly because these things like need to be put in a sterile environment. Because it is, yeah. Now, Alan Mark's uncle, once came into the clinic with his completely the fuck out. This was probably like late 2022 or early 2023. Like early mid 2023, after I figured out Alan was coming to the clinic. And then one morning he came in and like all the nurses and staff were like surrounding him. And I asked, she's not even there anymore, Cindy, who was a tech, like, is everything okay? Okay, is like, is Alan good? She's like, yeah, he's fine. His catheter just fell out. And I thought out loud, that's not how you structure that sentence.
He's fine, other than this awful thing.
Yeah, other than like he's not bleeding to death, and it can be fixed. So effectively, no, he's fine. It's just his day is about to get kind of annoying. This is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
So they tell me like, hey, here's what's gonna happen. You come up to the front. There's gonna be an ambulance waiting to take you to the hospital, and they're gonna put it back in, and then stuff. A lot of things I learned over the course of the 2 weeks, from Wednesday to Wednesday, of the 2 weeks I was gone. But we'll get there. So they put me on the stretcher, and the clinic gives the EMTs a manila envelope with paperwork on me, so the doctors know what to do. They tell them, hey, take him to Sikeston, Missouri, which is about 45 minutes away from Caruthersville, which is where I live. I don't know if I should have said that on the internet, but I'm pretty sure I've said it before. And like, I guess from Kennedy it's closer to an hour. Here's something y'all don't know. Caruthersville, Kennett, and Hayti, Missouri, all within 30 minutes of each other. We share a medical system. Caruthersville does not have a hospital. We have doctor offices, no hospital. Kennett does not have a hospital. They have doctor's offices. They don't have a hospital. Hayti technically does not have a hospital. It is a stop. Like, it's a hospital. Like if we go, jokes aside,
They more or less look at you and say, like, okay, you gotta go here now.
yeah, it's literally like, can we fix this? And can we fix this? They probably mean like,
No, we can't.
like in most cases, nah, they fucking can't. Especially if you're like my size, they can't do much for you. They can probably X-ray you, but that's about it. They can give you an ultrasound, but they can't MRI you. They can't CT scan you. None of that shit. Like, being fat is a problem in America, which is very strange because we're a relatively fat country. So the EMTs were told, take him to Sikeston because that's where his doctor is. So if anything happens, he'll be near his doctor or his nephrologist, which is a kidney specialist. So they take me to Paragould, Arkansas. mostly because it's,
As they were commanded.
yeah, mostly because it's closer. So again, these three cities share a health system. So we share a few ambulances. Caruthersville does not have ambulances that sit on deck. Like you can call 911. Like right now, let's say right now, like, I don't know, a car accident happened outside, and we needed people to help. Like, they need help. Like, there's a dude bleeding really badly. I could call 911 and say, hey, there's been a car accident at the corner of Blink and Blanc. And they could be like, okay, we're sending an ambulance on the way. That don't mean shit. Because that ambulance could be in Hayti, which is about 15 minutes from here. Or it could be in Kennett, which is about 30 minutes from here. So
You just know that an ambulance is coming. You just don't know where the fuck it's coming from.
Don't know where it's coming from and don't know when it'll get here. Like, which is problematic. It's mostly because all three cities are relatively poor. Like, we don't have, like, neither city has big money. Like, Hayti is at the fucking bottom of the map. Like, it's a list of 3 cities and it's 5th when it comes to the poorest.
And in general, Hayti is basically just you drive through here to get where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And so they take me to Paragould because it's closest to where we currently were. And when I get there, they're like, all right, we got a room for you. Just kind of hang out. So I call my mom, let her know what happened. I'm chilling. You know, I'm not prepped for not being at home. I got all the stuff I normally have. Time goes by, and by time I mean like 2 hours or so go by. Like, and eventually the doctor on call comes in, and she's like, "Okay, so what are you here for?" Which is like great. I love it. And I've learned that like a lot of times doctors ask you the same questions, or you'll get asked in a medical setting, you'll get asked the same questions over and over, not because people aren't paying attention or listening, or they're not like trying to find good info. In most cases, what's happening is they want to gauge your mentality. They want to see if you are there.
I mean, that's a general thing in my doctor's office too. Like, the nurse will go over everything, and my doctor still asks me, "Hey, like, what's going on? Like, tell me everything that's
yeah,
happening."
like, because they kind of want to see like where your head's at. Because in most cases, like, if you tell the nurse, "Oh yeah, my back has been hurting," and then the doctor comes in and it's like, "So what's going on?" Not too much. Like, they'll probably go, "Well, you told the nurse your back hurt." Like, they're trying to gauge, like, are you mentally aware? So with that being said, eventually I end up in another hospital. I won't say where yet because I'm trying to fucking like tell a story here. What ended up happening was like somebody came in to do a mental assessment, and they asked me where I was, and the name of the hospital was like the Joy something something something, and I said the Joy Luck Club, and that person just stared at me. And I realized that in that moment, as I was being stared at, okay, not the time for jokes. Like, so I realized in that moment, we shouldn't be making fun of things right now. Okay, got it. So the doctor in Paragould asked me, "Hey, why are you here?" And I go, "My catheter fell out." And she was like, "Okay, here's the thing. I can't fix that." Like, I don't even know how, like, to begin with that. And she was like, "So yeah, I can't help with that. I want to help you." She's like, "I would love to make you feel like, you know, get y'all fixed up and send you on your way, but I'm not equipped for this." So fast forward, the plan is to get an ambulance to take me to Poplar Bluff, Arkansas, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, which is, I think, about an hour out from where I live. I've been there before. Like, the catheter that's falling out was put in place by that hospital. So I get there. We get there that day, like before night falls. We get there. I get a room, and everything's fine. Like, for those who don't know, I also have sleep. I don't know if it's obstructive sleep apnea, but I have pretty severe sleep apnea. Like, I stop breathing in my sleep. Like, if I nod off, like my airway just straight up closes up, and like I can't breathe. So like I have to, and again, I'm not planning to be in the hospital. So like the CPAP machine I have at home is at home. And I love, like, during
you weren't planning on being here.
Yeah, I wasn't planning, like I said, I wasn't planning on being in the hospital. And I do get people asking me that when I'm in the hospital and I have to stay overnight. Like, "Do you have it with you?" I was like, "No, you fuck. I was brought here via the fucking ambulance." And it's like, "Do you have anybody who could bring it to you?" And I was like, "No." And the thing, like, the wild part is, to me, in a lot of cases, the hospital doesn't have a CPAP machine available. And like, apparently there are settings, and there's this whole rigmarole that comes with like having your CPAP machine or a BiPAP machine or anything that like that at home. Like, it's better to have yours because you know how yours works, and yours is tailored to you via a sleep study. And if you've never had a sleep study done, if you have, like, a lot of people have sleep apnea, and it's not explicitly a fat people thing, but it is.
YB has sleep apnea.
Yeah, and
CPAP machine.
Okay, I'm about to say, fucking make her get a sleep study done, because like the whole
no, that's already cause it's already been a whole thing.
Yeah, because my dad had it and he didn't want to get a sleep study done. Jordan has it and he can't afford to have anything done about it. And I have like uncles who have sleep apnea. It's very common. Like, it is not it's not a weight thing. It is incredibly common. And I will say that, like, Yeah, it's nice. Like having it, like after experiencing what sleeping was like without mine, and then having it, I was like, oh, this is great. Like it doesn't breathe for you, but like when you take a breath, it blows as much. It fills your lungs with air. Like it allows you to breathe deeper. And if you stop breathing, it pushes air up your nose, like up your passageway. The whole point of
basically
it,
just kickstarts like your
like,
lungs.
well, it doesn't kickstart them, but what it does is it pushes past the obstruction.
Yeah.
It just shoots air up through your airways. Okay, uh, so I get to the hospital in Poplar Bluff. I'm fine at this point. Like I haven't had like a full dialysis treatment yet. Like not a full one. I've had one throughout the week. And so I don't remember, like, I think I was there for a night. Like I think I was there Wednesday night. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I was there Wednesday night, and I think I remember not having, my phone was like gonna die, and my headphones were gonna die, and I was not gonna be able to survive any of this shit without music. And so it was the first time I'd ever used DoorDash. I DoorDashed some chargers to my room, and I cannot believe that it worked as well as it did. We live in a great time, and I hope that doesn't change at the end of the year. So I got my chargers, and they're like, yeah, tomorrow we're gonna perform the procedure, which is simply they're gonna pull the, yeah. So what ends up happening is, if I'm not mistaken, I'm only there for 2 days, and I think and I don't remember what happened exactly, but I think I laid back on the bed, and I was watching something on my phone. I know I was watching something on my phone, and I looked to my right, and the end of the catheter, the part that's supposed to be in my heart, is looking me in the face. And I go, oh, that ain't good.
No.
And like it's all the way out, but like the entire time it's been like taped up and like taped to my chest so it wouldn't fall all the way out. So what ends up happening simply is that I hit the I
didn't think to like have you explain to the audience that may or may not exist, like the type of catheter you're talking about, because I'm sure that like if a person hears that, they're gonna, assume it's
to be fair, all catheters are effectively the same thing. It is a straw that goes into a place to deliver things either from or to a place.
Yeah, it's not just a urinary catheter. There's other catheters.
No, yeah. So effectively, like the catheter, like it's a rubberized tube that they insert. They cut a hole in part of your body, and they find like an artery. And I don't know how else to word it, but they slide it in, and effectively it goes like through a major vein and into your heart, so that when they do dialysis, it pulls blood out and pumps blood in. I don't know for the life of me, because like look it up. If you care, look it up. It's a visual thing.
Yeah.
It's two things going into one place. I don't know how it works. Because in theory, you would like, it's all blood, right? Like it's all blood. It doesn't really matter like what's happened, like, because like you could have two different, tubes going into the body, but it's still like one supply of blood. The blood is not like bisected or anything like that. It's all constantly moving. So the whole point of dialysis is it pulls blood out of your body, cleans it, and then pushes it back in.
And then pumps it back in. Yeah. Just a filtration system that your body just can't do anymore.
Yeah, the kidneys are supposed to do, but in renal patients, it's not doing anymore. What the fuck was that? Oh yeah, so the thing falls out, and I'm like, well, I guess I should tell a nurse about this. So I hit the button, and I was like, yeah, I need assistance. And so like the nurse's assistant comes in, and she's like, yeah, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, this fell out. And she's like,
whoa.
And she said, let me get you a nurse. And then hightails it out of the room.
I
And
was gonna say,
she,
to be fair, you called for a nurse.
I did. Well, I called. Yeah, I called for a nurse. I called for assistance. Like as far as they know, I just I needed to piss. So they were like, hey. So the nurse saw her and the nurse come back, and she's like, what's going on? And I show her like the thing, like, yeah, this fell all the way out. And she's like, where was it? And I moved my my tank top out of the way, and I go, it was in my chest. She turns around and leaves. And she comes back
This is
with.
only funny in retrospect.
That was funny in the moment. Like to me, this shit was fucking hilarious. All the like every step of the way, I was never scared. I'm not tough. I just might be too dumb to realize I should have been scared. I never got scared. I was interested the entire time. I thought the entire thing was outstandingly interesting. Like simply put. And when she comes back, she has stuff. And I told her, and I'm talking. I was like, yeah, I just kind of figured like the hole shouldn't be exposed to like the air. She's like, yeah, that's right. And so she proceeds she proceeds to patch me up. Like she just puts gauze over it and tapes it down. And I think either that day or the next day, they decide like, okay, yeah, we have you scheduled for surgery the next day. It's not really surgery, but whatever. But yeah, so this is where it gets interesting. So they get me on the OR table, and I will tell you all this: if you've ever seen TV shows where like they take somebody into the OR and they like almost immediately start working, no, they get you into the OR before the doctor even shows up. You're in there just hanging out for at least 5 to 10 minutes before the doctor shows up. Then they go through like what the plan is. Like it's stupid to me. Like it feels like something they could do before you get there to minimize how long you have to be in there. So what ends up happening is I go in there and like I'm on my back and I don't really feel comfortable. Not like uncomfortable, but I don't feel good on my back, which wasn't something I did in general. I didn't lay on my back. And like they don't have, I think that I have oxygen on, but that's all. I don't have like any kind of like respirator or anything to like help me breathe, because as far as they're aware, like I don't need it. So we go through the process. They have like this big like tarp over me because again they have to keep everything sterile, and we're almost finished. I don't know how long we were in there, maybe 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long because the thing is already out. And all they really have to do is just kind of like thread it back in, because the last time I had this thing put in place, the guy who did it cleared a path by basically breaking away all the scar tissue. And I start to I suddenly I can't breathe. Like the entire time I'm taking deep breaths. Like making sure I'm breathing. I'm very conscious of the situation at hand. I'm taking deep breaths. And then suddenly I fucking can't. And I tell the lady who's like at my left shoulder, like I start to try to move, like try to like lay on my left side, like just to get off my back a little bit. And I told her, I can't breathe. And she says, it's okay, you're doing good. We're almost over. That's the last thing I heard. I don't mean like it's not like TV. Things didn't get hazy. My vision didn't get blurry. It just went, it didn't fade to black.
It's just like the TV shut off. Yeah.
Yeah, it cut to black. And the next time I woke up, I was staring up at a ceiling, and I had something in my mouth, which I can honestly tell you was, in any other circumstance, would be fucking terrible. Shit, it wasn't good for this one. I'm staring up at the ceiling. I'm on my back, and I can't move. I can't move.
Yeah, this is the part you told me about. Like
Yeah.
when you messaged me specifically.
Yeah, I couldn't fucking move. And when I say I couldn't move, I could only move my feet. I could only move my fucking feet. The next time I woke up, and like when I woke up and I could move my feet, like I was trying to move my body and I simply couldn't. And I don't know how long I was awake. I don't feel like I was awake for very long. This is the part where I'm gonna like stop the episode or stop this section. I think because I don't think this is gonna take me like 3 or 4 hours. So this is probably gonna be in 30-minute segments. So tune in for the next part. There probably won't be any. There might be some annotations. I don't know. But either way, come back for the rest.